but let's blow them off the line of scrimmage.
Thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory.
That's my cue to start the show. Welcome to another live edition of the Hard Rocket Sports Show, live from High Top Hard Rocket Sports Studios in beautiful scenic Monroe, New Jersey. We are your 3-hour weekly get-together. We bring you all the biggest news from all the Hard Rock, Harry Metal, and of course, the wide world of sports. And guys, welcome to Thursday night, July the 27th. Yes, for all of you long-time fans, that's right. We are celebrating our 9th year on the air. We started this show July 26th, 2014, and still going semi-strong. I got to tell you. We're doing what we can, and this will be our 10th time we've done the NFL training camp show. That's right. The very, very first show I did solo in my wife's sewing room was the NFL training camp show in 2014. I had a 3-hour show scheduled that lasted an hour and a half because I ran out of things to talk about. So hopefully this will be a little bit better. It might not be much longer than that, but it's definitely going to be a little bit better. And I'm very proud and happy to be on the air. Still, after 9 years, it's still a labor of love, but I still love doing it and getting to hang with my dad and, of course, with Jeff and all of you guys. It's been a pleasure. So lots to do. There's lots to talk about. If you're not a fan of football, you will not like this show. All right, because we are going to talk football from the start to finish. And if anybody's paid attention to this show over the last 9 years, you'll realize that this show is completely built around the NFL. We talk about everything: baseball, football, other sports, social media. We get into politics. We'll get into, obviously, music. But when this show is at its strongest, we are talking football. And the word for this year, for this show, and for our two teams, now Jeff and I root for different teams here in New York, is expectations. And it's been a long time since we both had them. And it's going to be great to have a conversation tonight to see what Jeff thinks and, get my dad's thoughts and some of the other guys, maybe some other people out there listening in. So kick back and relax and hang in with us. But thanks for tuning in tonight. It's been a great week. Hot as hell. Lots of stuff going on in my life, but all is good. And I got no complaints. So, guys, again, thank you for tuning in for the Hard Rock and Sports Show for the last, holy cow, 9 years of this. And who knows, maybe we're at about the halfway point. So hopefully we'll be talking about the big 20-year anniversary. I would tell you, if we're around next year for 10, we're going to be doing something big someplace. So I would think that's a guarantee. So if you're around next summer, I would be on the lookout for a big, huge Hard Rock and Sports 10th anniversary bash. Let's see if we get there, but we'll certainly get through this NFL season because there's a lot of expectation, and boy, oh boy, would it be great to see one of these two teams in the Super Bowl while we're doing this show. So it hasn't happened. We just missed the Giants by a couple of years by when we started this. So hopefully one of them will get there. But anyway, let's get the show started. We got a lot to do, but there's only one way I kick off a show, and that's by bringing on my partner in crime, the sexiest man on his side of the screen, and the fuzziest guy, Mr. Jeff Tulwinski. What's up, Hefe?
What's going on, man?
Oh, man, it's all good, Jeff. It's an NFL Thursday night. It's the Hard Rock and Sports anniversary, by the way. So happy anniversary to you as a co-host and co-partner of the show.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. But you were the one that got this going. I came on later on, but I'll take it.
Well, listen, I can go back to saying you've been a part of the show since episode 4. You call as a caller, then a part-time contributor, then a little bit more of a contributor to full-time host. So we've been doing this together. I will always say this is our show. It's not my show. It's our show. And we've had some fun. We've had a lot of great guests. So I think we should talk a little bit about the show itself. What's your absolute highlight when you think back to this show? Is it a guest? Is it a moment? What if somebody said to you 20 years from now, Jeff, did you used to be on that show? What would be the first memory, or what was the first thing that came back into your brain?
Oh, there was so many different ones. I mean, Some of the guests, of course, were great. Some of the shows just were so cool. Some of the shows with the Half Man when he was here.
I was thinking the same thing.
Classics.
Thing. Yes, I would agree with you. That was the first thing I thought of, was sitting in this chair and nearly passing out from laughing so hard on you and him going at it and just going, did I pass out? Because I don't remember the last 2 minutes.
There was one time I got mad at him because we were trying to talk and I snapped at him. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes, I do remember. That was back in the internet radio days where he would completely talk over you.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, yes. And you got completely
I snapped at him, man. I felt bad afterwards. I still feel bad about it to this day, to be honest with you. But
those were classics. The Dominic, all the characters, Hasby Farton, and the Half Man show, and the Raider reports, and all of that great stuff. So I would tell you, for me, listen, so many highlights, so many people we made friends with that, guys like John Marhefka. I mean, Johnny's, I would call a dear friend of mine. I've never met the man, but through this show, we've gotten to be friends with, celebrities. We've made friends with people like John, people from around the country, around the world for that matter.
Yeah, it used to be cool when you used to get certain people. They would just pop in every week.
Sure.
We had our own crew going every Thursday. Patrick, G. Lombardo, whatever.
Yeah. God rest his soul. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not here. Hey, Mike. What's going on, man? Yeah, hot as a motherfucker, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's good. Worse tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be worse.
Not for me. I'll be in the house most of the day.
That's right. You're off tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really looking to go out much tomorrow.
Fortunately, I will be out there pouring concrete. So,
oh my God. Does it even cure right?
You got to stay on top of it. I think we'll be adding ice tomorrow. I think, there's a whole bunch of tricks to it, but we'll start a little early, and you just got to pour fast. That's it. You got to hit it hard and keep it wet, and just hope for no problems. So,
wow,
it starts to bake, and next thing you know, you got cracked concrete everywhere. So,
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, that's what pays the bills, my man. That's what pays the bills. But I gotta tell you, having my dad as a, I think if I could probably tell you, there's probably been no more than a dozen shows over the past 9 years that he's actually missed. Whether it's calling in, listening in, that's been a great part of this. Being able to interact with my dad, and the cast of characters, Carmine, Dominic. Adam Hines has been a regular now. Frankie Catalano. So many people over the years that just,
Where's Frankie Catalano? I think he's ducking us.
Yeah, well, he might be after his boy Sean Payton spouting off today. Did you hear that? You hear that stuff?
Yeah, he's got to say something. Come on, man.
Well, I mean, you don't have to. I mean, listen, everybody who, if you have a half a brain, Nathaniel Hackett was horrendous as a head coach. But there was no need. But he was trying to protect his guy. He's trying to protect Russell Wilson. He's trying to give Russell Wilson an out as to why he was terrible last year.
Look, I went back and looked at some stats.
You did?
Today, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I'll tell you right now, I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers going into this season than Russell Wilson any day of the week.
Oh, I would agree with that. Sure.
And I do. And we do.
And you actually happen to have that. And we're going to talk because there's a lot to talk about in the football world of New York this year, and we'll get to that in a minute. But again, guys, like I said, thank you. Thanks to all of our friends out there who support us each week. The guys from the Squatch, the Black Sasquatch guys, those guys are always listening in. The guys from Hemp Wizard, again, like I said, Adam Hines and Frankie Catalano. So many people. Like I said, there's so many people over the years who just, find a way. Louis Pica. So many guys who pop in every week and, help us, come up with our signature fragrance. We've got a signature fragrance for the show. Jeff helped design this whole thing right here.
Yeah.
So like I said, I just want to say thank you to Jeff and everybody out there, our wives, our families for putting up with us disappearing for a couple hours every Thursday night. And again, I have so many of it on tape, I guess, or a lot of old recordings that hopefully someday I'll put on a master and just be able to, when I'm in the rocking chair in the home, have it played in my headphones and remember all the things we said and did on the show. The people we got to meet. I mean, think about it, Jeff. We've gotten to talk to guys that Pete Rose and Tommy John and George Foreman and, again, of course, Geezer Butler and Jeff Tate and KK Downing and people that we just grew up listening to their stuff. Carmine Appice and Vinny Appice and so many guys. It's just amazing that some of the people we grew up listening to and going to their concerts. Joe Lynn Turner. I mean, and just being able to sit here and bullshit with them like we mattered.
Oh, definitely, man. There's been a lot of them. But like I said, when I look back on it and I think about it, the best has to be the Life with the Half Man, man. It's just going back to that. I remember when we did the Has Been 14.
Oh my God. And
we said that we had a guest call in from Yemen. Yes. And I remember him like almost like, yeah. And like he really thought that was happening.
I will still say the greatest moment of the show, and people can think I'm nuts, but the greatest moment of this show was the Half Man falling asleep on the air.
Well, how do you beat that?
I mean, you beat that. People sitting there talking. No, you and I were talking, and we picked them up, and all you heard was the snore. Yes, and we left him on there for a while, and he just did, and I asked him the next week, and he had no recollection of ever being on the air sleeping. And I'm telling you, it's been a while since I talked to him about it before he passed. But every time I brought it up, he would say, "You guys made that up." I said, "Tom, that's really you snoring. I didn't make it up. No. You guys took some sound and you put the music to it. Tom, I'm telling you, that's you. We just had some fun with it."
Oh man, that was a great one. That was a classic.
Still the best was that, and the time he showed up with the football helmet on to do the Super Bowl trivia show.
Can you replay that video at any time?
Yeah, I gotta find it. It's out there in Spaceland. I gotta pull that out. I do have it though for sure. Oh. So that was the Super Bowl trivia contest. Yes, 2 years ago we did Super Bowl trivia, and he showed up with the Raider helmet on.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you gonna do? But all right, guys. So Jeff, let's start the show off the way we always do. How was your week?
First week back to work after vacation for 2 weeks, so it sucked.
Yeah, did the heat and all the other guys. It's supposed to be in the 80s next week, low 80s as a matter of fact. So
that can't happen soon enough.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. You ain't kidding. Well, that's good. How there was a vacation overall? It was good.
Yeah. Listen, anytime not at work is a good time.
Very true. Can't argue that fact. Hey, you know what I found the other day? Hold on, I'll show you something. I was going through the closet, putting some stuff away, and I found this.
I have mine right on the other side of this wall, right here. Yep.
Yes, I said, if I ever take the stage again, ever in my life, this will be what I'm wearing that day. Just for the record. So if it ever happens, if we ever crank up the band or I do something that requires me to play in front of people ever again, that will be what I'm wearing. So
you're still what? You're still in the old house?
Yes. Yeah. This will be the last show from this house, as a matter of fact. So yes.
And yeah, Mike, going back to work. Mike's been been retired almost a year or a little more.
Oh wow. Good for him.
Good for him is right.
Yep. We've got a few years left.
Bleed them dry, Michael.
That's it. Stay alive, stay healthy, and keep the money coming.
Yeah.
Earn that money.
And if something happens, you go before your time. Tell the wife to not tell anybody. Just keep collecting.
Stuff you and stick you in the closet.
Yeah.
Well, thank you to everybody who's passing on their congratulations online to us. Again, thank you to Joe Gansis, our former producer, and of course Jeff's lovely wife Sharon and Dawn, Jeff's cousin, all wishing us congratulations, and see so many other people popping up on this. So thank you to everybody for helping us celebrate our anniversary. But I got to get my dad on because he's been a huge part of this show. Of course, I get my love of sports and music from my dad, and he's been a big inspiration and a big part of our show. He calls in essentially every week and checks in. So let's get my dad in and see what he's got to say on this football NFL training camp show, our 10th time. What's up, Pop?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Good. Just hanging, Pop, to get there and just do a little show. What's happening over there?
No, nothing. Just getting ready. I can't believe I'm saying it. Getting ready for football.
Yeah.
I'm terribly disappointed in sports.
Yeah, well,
And so
not much to talk about, but yeah.
The only thing that you guys were talking about that I agree. We're going to know the first, what is it? Can you pull up the schedule for the Jets, the first 4 games?
I certainly can. Hold on a second.
That's I got a feeling the first game is Buffalo.
Yep.
And Kansas City's in there too.
Well, let's see standings. No, not standings. I'm sorry. I want to see schedule. There it is. Schedule. This is later. Let's see. Come on, give me teams. Team schedule. There it is. Sorry, guys. Give me a second. I'm just okay. Let's schedule, and I will share it so you guys can see it. And here, Jet schedule, and share it. And later for the subscribe. We don't want the jerseys. Okay, so here we go. We'll get past the 3 tune-up games. So here we go, guys. I don't know if you can see, but week 1, you have a Monday night game, Jeff, against Buffalo. Week 2, you're at the Cowboys.
Wow.
Week 3, you're home to New England. And then week 4 is Kansas City. So, Jeff, my dad is right.
That's when you're going to find out.
I'll tell you, by the time they get to Kansas City, they could very well be 5-0.
Hopefully. The only thing that scares me,
Jeff, to be 5-0 after 4 games, but all right, I can see.
They're going to be that good once they get Dalvin Cook in the backfield.
I hope so.
They're going to be unstoppable.
But I keep saying the only thing that scares me is that I'm just hoping that all their eggs aren't on Rodgers.
Oh, it has to be. It kind of has to be. Yeah, but that's that. You know what? I agree with you, but I think you can make that pronunciation, that pronouncement.
A lot of teams.
For everybody. I don't know too many teams in this league that lose their starting quarterback. Now, Frisco last year, they lost 2 starting quarterbacks and got to their 3rd guy and were successful. Right, Jeff? I mean, right down to Brock Purdy, who went, I think, 6 or 7-0 into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So,
Bob, looks like they're going to make him start this year too.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. But, Bob, I mean, to your point, I agree with you. But I think I don't know too many teams out there that will lose their starting quarterback and be successful. So it's a different league.
I'm hoping he don't get hurt either.
I hope he don't get hurt either.
You get hurt. The problem is you're going to know your season, I think, in the first 4 games. I think you should take 3 out of 4.
I agree.
Anything less than that is.
Well, here's what I'll say. So Buffalo at home, that's a tough game, but that's one you got to get. Dallas on the road, that's a game that I think you can lose on the road. The next 2, I mean, Kansas City on a Sunday night at home, and New England. I think that's 3-1's not out of the question. I think
that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, Jeff, would you be disappointed less than 3-1? Would you take 2-2?
I wouldn't be disappointed at 3-1.
No, I'm saying is if you went 3-1, you're fine. But if you let me reverse that thing. If you didn't get 3-1, would you be disappointed?
No, I'm not going to be disappointed no matter what happens. I mean, unless of course they're 0-4, I wouldn't be disappointed because I think that they're going to be a work in progress. I think they're going to get stronger as they go on.
Yeah.
I think they're going to gain confidence as they go on. I just think that this is a team that is once it looks at itself, they're going to realize, we are for real if everything goes right. I mean, they get Dalvin Cook. Who's going to stop them?
Well, most trade magazines have them finishing in 3rd place. I mean, Not to say they won't get a wild card. I think most people expecting them to get a wild card in a very tough AFC. But I just reading Athlon Sports, and they have Miami winning division with Buffalo coming in second and the Jets in third. I mean, we'll run through the schedule later, you and I. Not the toughest schedule in the whole world. I'll just give it to you fast. I'm not going to stop along the way.
I just don't. You know what, Tom? I just don't see Miami hanging tight, hanging tough the whole year because Tua could get hurt. Burrow was helped off the field with a calf injury today. Mm-hmm. So that, depending on what it is, hopefully he's out for a large chunk of the season. And that would knock Cincinnati out of it. And listen, I don't really think there's anybody else coming out of the AFC West.
Again, yeah. I mean, I think we'll go through the divisions a little bit, but listen, I think the AFC is a gauntlet. I mean, let's be honest. It's where all the quarterbacks are. I'll give you I'll give you a minute or two. Give me the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFC right now. I mean, all the quarterbacks: Burrow, Mahomes, Allen, Rodgers, Herbert, Burrows. You want to throw Kirk Cousins in there, that it's now sitting in it's Garoppolo sitting over there in the for the Raiders. There's a gauntlet of quarterbacks. I mean, that you got to get through in the AFC. So not an easy conference. And again, if Tua stays healthy, who knows what you're going to see out of New England this year? I expect New England to be better. So I think it's a tough division and a really tough conference. I think it's going to be a tough order for the team to come out of the AFC right now.
Well, listen, it's very well possible, but I think they added enough pieces. I really do.
I hope so.
Defense.
Yeah. I'd like to see them win.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Tom. The problem is you're going to find that, I think, right away, because I think they did a good thing matching them up with some of the top teams in the NFC and the NFC. And you're going to find out right away. And that takes some of the wind out of your sail. I think they got a good shot going at least 3-1.
I would agree with that. I think they have a really good shot of going 3-1. I think they have a really good shot of being in contention. I mean, again, we could say, well, if they stay healthy, that's anybody. I think everybody has to stay healthy. I don't think anybody's going to be beaten up. And listen, there are a lot of question marks on the Jets. Rodgers has to. Rodgers has to stay healthy, and he's got to be better than he was last year, right?
I think he's going to be, man.
Yeah, and fine. I think the biggest question for the Jets is not their weapons, which we usually are picking on, Jeff. I think the biggest question for the Jets is going to be their offensive line. Becton's already missing time with his shoulder. I think Brown's out indefinitely with still recovering from his offseason. I think that's the biggest question mark for the Jets. If their offensive line comes together, plays well, I think their receiving core is good. I still think they're weak at tight end, but their running backs, if Hall's back, and I'm not going to count on them signing Cook, but, I think right now there's a ton of weapons there, Jeff.
I heard 2 things about Cook. I heard he's coming tonight, then I heard he's coming Sunday.
Yeah, I heard the same thing.
You don't even know what's happening. If he comes tonight, there's a chance I would think he's signed by Sunday if he's that's what he's there for.
I would imagine if he's on a plane headed here, there's a good chance he's signing.
Yeah, I would think he hasn't gone anyplace else, Tom.
That's my point. Yeah, that's my point. Now the question is, all right, can you play him? Can you play Hall? Can you play Carter? But you know what? The way the guys get injured in this league, why not? Why not?
But don't forget, you also need somebody back there to block for him too. To block for Rodgers.
Yeah. Yes, well, that's
good
that's
enough to hold, to do the blocking.
Again, I don't know. I don't know. Again, I don't know enough on this offense if they're going to be able to protect him, whether it's up front or in the backfield. I didn't see enough of Breece Hall as a blocker, picking up blitzes. I mean, this league, Jeff, it's they're constantly sending 6 and 7 guys. So the backs have to be good enough. That's one of the knocks on Saquon, which we'll get to his situation in a little bit. But it's It's good that you're right. I think you'll find out the first month of the season who the Jets are.
It's a good
It would not
test.
shock me if they went 2-2 or 1-3, and they turned it on. If you go through their schedule, it's not crazy difficult. But
Don't
who
forget,
knows?
there's a lot of timing in football.
Sure.
I mean, that's one of the toughest things. And then you don't know, like you said, the front line, the offensive line, they're going to be able to hold. They're not going to be able to hold.
Sure.
You know their defense is good.
Should
they
be
have a very good defense.
Yeah, it should be. It should be very good.
We'll
Again,
see what happens. Hopefully everything will be all right. And I'll let you guys go. Have a
Thanks,
nice
Pop.
weekend. Tommy, I'll see you over the weekend.
Absolutely.
Jeff, take care, buddy. Talk to you again.
Well, I'll
Take
see you
care.
Thanks, Pops. That's my dad. Checks in every week. It has it for basically the last 9 years. And again, welcome to the ninth anniversary of the Hard Rocket Sports Show and our 10th ever Hard Rocket Sports NFL training camp show. Hey, Adam Hines, thanks for tuning in at all, pal. We do appreciate it. Get some sleep tonight. I know the feeling. I think last Friday I had the 3 o'clock. I had two of them last week, 3 o'clock in the morning start. So I get it. It ain't easy. So good luck and be careful, Adam. And again, thanks to everybody who's tuning in and watching as Jeff plays with some sort of light.
Do I look scary?
Yes, but you look scary anyway, so it doesn't really
See
matter.
what I have on.
Yes, I see you. I see it. So Jeff, what I was opening the show with tonight was there's a word I think that we both have never been able to use. I can't remember the last time we both had this at the start of the season, and I think this is where it gets tough for both teams. Is there are finally expectations? These teams are going into the season, and the Giants are expected to at least vie for a playoff spot, and I think the Jets have bigger expectations. I think a lot of people, a lot of Jet fans, a lot of people out there think the Jets are not only a playoff team now with a future Hall of Famer, but they're a Super Bowl contender. I think it's a little premature. I don't know if they are, but the thing we have this year that we don't normally have are expectations, and it's harder. The Giants came out of nowhere last year and made a playoff berth and won a playoff game that nobody expected. When you're expected, it's a lot harder, and I think that's something that you should want as a fan and as a team, no?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think that they got a good chance to make some noise.
Yeah.
Listen, a couple injuries, they may end up being the team to beat in the AFC. You don't know.
Yeah. Again, listen, nobody knows how it's going to play out with injuries. To my dad's point, I don't agree. If the Jets lose Rodgers, yeah, of course they're not going to be the same team. But if the Bengals lose Burrows or Kansas City loses Mahomes or whoever, I think they'd all be in the same. They all be the same. It'll be the same way.
Yeah.
So, Joe, I'll put some. Joe, yeah, sure, Joe. I will put your. I'll send you a link. Give me a minute, Joe. I'll send you a link.
You can't call, Joe. There's no phone line.
The cold days are over, Joe. Joe Gansas. I will send him a link. It's on your browser, Joe. Take a look whenever you want to pop up. But yeah, Jeff, it's a different ball game when you're expected. The Jets aren't going to sneak up on anybody this year. Nobody's going to take them lightly. So
no,
and I think that's the big thing for Robert Saleh, and I think it's a huge thing for Brian Daboll. Last year, nobody knew what to expect out of Daboll. You didn't have a $40 million a year quarterback. You do now. Daniel Jones has to live up to that scrutiny, and if playing here in New York, it's even worse.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm not a believer in that, man. I think they jumped the gun, and I think that this, man, wow, I just don't see them. I don't see them being a serious contender. I think that they jumped the gun and they got panicky because they had somebody that had a semi-decent year. And they threw the kitchen sink at him. And I think a lot of teams do that. Not just them. A lot of teams have done it. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it does not. And listen, for their sake, they got to hope that it works out. Because if not, they could be in a bad way for a while.
Well, listen, I know it's a 4-year, $160 million, but it turns into basically a 2-year deal with the guarantees and stuff. And yeah, I don't think the Giants had a choice. The kid came out. He played well enough. threw for 3,200 yards, ran for another 700. He had 20-something touchdowns between on the ground and throwing to basically a no-name receiving core. And listen, did they have a choice? Yeah, but they didn't. They would you were going to pay a lot of money to a veteran, or you're going to pay the money to a guy that you at least see is 25 years old. He's gotten better, and he's cut down. He's thrown 12 interceptions the last 2 years. So I think
he still hasn't cracked 7 yards per throw yet. No,
again, there is still a lot to be desired, and listen, they had to make a decision. They went for it. I don't blame them for it. I don't like the money spent. But again, I don't think any of the quarterbacks should give them that much money, even Mahomes or otherwise. But I think that the thing for me is as a football fan, what I like is I at least get the next 5 or 6 or 7 weeks, having expectations that my team is actually going to be good. And it's going to be in the playoffs this year.
What do you think of Herbert getting like $52 million?
Yeah, again, I think all these guys are really good players, but we had him on our fantasy team last year, and he was very disappointing. I thought he had a very subpar year, but again, you're banking on the fact. Now, I didn't see all the terms of the deal. I don't know how much of it's guaranteed. I don't know how much of it is, but I thought he had a little bit of a step back last year, to be honest with you.
Oh, listen, they pay him.
Yeah, no, but again, here's the thing, and I'd say this to them, you, or anybody else. What is the choice? Do you push him out to free agency? Somebody's going to give him that money. Is he going to take him 4 or 5 years to get to where he's got to go and turn into that player? I don't know. He's got the weapons, so I think it's all ridiculous to be paying these guys that kind of money because you're eating up 25% of your budget on one player. How do you build a really good team that way? It just doesn't work.
Oh, and the way that team's set up, man, you got to wonder, do they plan on playing a lot of low scoring games? Is this a team that's going to be able to compete with some of the high flyers, so to speak?
Yeah, I don't know, Matt. You think that Justin Herbert's going to be a Dolphin next year? But what through a trade? Oh, you're talking about so you're talking.
Barkley, I guess.
Okay, you're talking about Barkley, or are you talking about Jones?
Can't be talking about Jones. He got $40 million.
Yeah, Barkley made a bad decision. Let's be honest. They offered him $23 million guaranteed. If he plays this year, he's getting 11. If he's lucky next year and they tag him again, he gets another 12. And that's if he does. And nobody next year is going to give him that deal again. Even if he goes out there, Jeff, and has a killer year this year, nobody's giving Saquon Barkley a 3 or 4 year deal for that kind of money. And there's my man, Frankie Catalano, popping up. Hey, our good buddy Joe Gansas is on the line. Let's get him on.
Listen, somebody get fucking Frank Catalano an exhaust fan. I think he has too many aerosol cans near him or something. Something's up.
And again, let's get a guy. I will tell you, if it wasn't for Joe coming on board during that first year, I probably wouldn't have got out of the chute to get to where we are now. So I always have a very big debt of gratitude to Joe for jumping on board and turning this into a semi-professional outfit with guests and making deals. So I want to bring on our good buddy of over 40 years and the former producer of the Hard Rock and Sports Show, our good bud, Joe Gansas. What's up, G-Money?
What's up? What's up, Jeff? What's up, Tommy?
What's up, Joe? What's going on?
How you guys doing?
All righty.
Oh, good, Joe. What's happening?
I want to congratulate you, both of you guys. 9 years, big accomplishment. I remember when you started in 14. Just great stuff, man. Just keep up the great work.
Thank you, Joe. It's still fun, man. So we'll keep doing it. But what's going on? By the way, I wanted to get in touch with you and say at some point I'd love to. I saw your Hall of Fame baseball rap. And I one Thursday night when you got a few minutes, I'd like to have that conversation on the air because I thought a good part of that was spot on. So
do you have 2 minutes for right now?
Sure, good.
I don't know if Jeff's seen it, but how it's mind-boggling that you get 10 tries to be a Hall of Famer. A guy compiles stats. His career ends and then there's a 5-year wait. Okay. Now, if he doesn't make it on his first try, he could be a Hall of Famer in 3 years. And you'll actually hear the sports writers say this. I'm not going to vote for him this year. I'm going to vote for him in 3 years. What?
Well, that's not the player's fault, though, Joe. Because of all of the stupid rules that are in place and the idiocies, so to speak, that these people follow, that they're not going to get him in on his first year. I'm not going to vote for him until his third year. But, that's not the player's fault. That's up for the chance to get in.
I'm not saying it's anybody's fault. It's asinine. It just goes to show how special that should be. Let me ask a question, Jeff. So if a guy doesn't get in this year, how does he get in 8 year? Is there some stat fairy that comes in the middle of the night and gives him 20 more homers or 50 more hits? Like, if he doesn't make it this year, how could he make it in 3 years? His stats don't change.
Well,
I guess they figure they're putting him up against people that are trying to get in themselves. And the years of guys hitting 500 and 600 home runs and winning 300 games is not going to happen. If it ever happens again, it's not going to happen like it once did.
Right.
And, they lower the expectations. You can't turn around and say that we're never going to put another guy in the Hall of Fame because they're not hitting these numbers. Nobody ever said these are the numbers you need to accomplish to get into the Hall of Fame.
I will say this.
I know what you're saying, though. I agree with you.
Yeah. I will say this, and I don't think it'll be a time. If another person never gets to the Hall of Fame, I'm fine. Because it's that special. Who's going to make it today? Bryce Harper, not a Hall of Famer. Absolutely not. Mike Trout. You got Kershaw. You got Verlander. I guess you got Scherzer. A couple more guys. But I think we want to put guys in and make the now a guy has 200 wins, a buck 80 wins, 2,000 hits. So they're making everything less. It's I don't know.
They're making everything less because the players that are in the league now and that are playing now cannot hit these milestones.
Right. No.
Who's the next guy in Major League Baseball to get 3,000 hits?
I'm not sure. I don't know if anybody's close. I think Trout's probably the closest at this point of the younger guys.
And does he have 2,000? And he probably isn't even that young. Isn't he like 30, Mike Trout?
Trout won't get there. He won't get there.
Yeah, it's because of the injuries.
Yeah.
I think the old milestones are gone. Joe, my only question, the only thing I would say to you, Joe, is I think the one thing that could go against is you're only allowed to vote for 10 guys. So what happens if there's a year where and I don't think there are, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying so if there's 15 guys on the list and all of them are Hall of Fame worthy. Now, again, I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Yeah.
But I'm saying let's say you can only vote for 10 this year. What if you vote for those 10 and then the following year, the other 5 guys who you wanted to vote for, you could vote for them the next year because the other 10 guys got in. You know what I'm saying? Like that would be the only way I would. I'm not saying that's not the case, and you're right. Either you're in or you're out.
That never happens. I'm just saying.
No, Joe, I agree with you 100%. So
something. It's a slippery slope without a doubt. But like how Joey just said, like how could a guy who didn't get in his third year eligibility could get in his 8th year? And then what about like the Veterans Committee? Okay, now all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, this guy's on the Veterans Committee. But wait, what about the previous 8 years, 10 years that nobody voted him in, and now they put him on a special committee to get him in?
Listen, I agree with you guys straight up. Listen, either guy's a Hall of Famer or he's not. This year I think Scott Rowland was going in. Scott Rowland's a really good player, not a Hall of Famer.
Not a Hall of Famer.
I've been hearing a lot of chatter about they're going to be pushing for Keith Hernandez. Now, Keith Hernandez was a great defensive player, but better than average hitter most of his career. Not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, no.
So, Joe, to your point, I agree. Either you're a Hall of Famer or you're not. And I think the problem is it's all subjective and it's all politics.
Before I go, 342 players are in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Only 59 have made it on their first year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, when you watch it, like there are very few guys I'd say, well, he has to get to 3,000 and he gets in. Like Johnny Damon finished a couple of hundred hits short of 3,000. Johnny Damon's not a Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? So just because you hit the magic number, don't make you a Hall of Famer. There are guys who get in.
How many years did Johnny Damon play in the Major League Baseball?
I'm not sure. I would say it's 15, but I'd have to go back.
Okay, well then that's part of what I was going to say right there. If you play in the league long enough, you're going to hit milestones without even trying, because all you got to do is be a semi-productive player.
Well,
you're in the league for 15 years, and you figure 15 into 3,000. What is that? My math is bad. So was it 200 hits?
Yeah, 200 hits a year. 200 hits.
So if you're averaging 170 hits a year, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Frankie Catalano said to tell you Johnny Bench is not a Hall of Famer.
All right, thanks.
But so now you get a guy 15 years, and he's averaging 175 home hits a year. Sooner or later, he gets close, but he doesn't get in. You know what I mean?
Tommy, I got a guy who hit 600 home runs in the Hall of Fame last 5 years, Jim Tomei.
Yeah, I was on that one with you, Joe. Jim Tomei was a really good player who hit a lot of home runs in an era where a lot of people hit home runs.
But it brings up Jeff's good point that I guess once these guys, I guess if they hit 600 home runs, they're definitely Hall of Famers, which it shouldn't be.
No.
Listen, if you take a guy, right, like I just said, if he averages 175 hits over a 15-year career, he gets 2,625 hits. That's 375 hits away from 3,000.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like he if he plays one more year, or he had a couple really good years, after 15, 16 years, he got 3,000 hits. What about the guys that get that many hits in 12 years?
Yeah, before I go, Mark McGwire is Hall of Famer. I'm sorry. He only has 1,500 hits.
Yes.
If you want to put it in a special Hall of Fame for home run hitters, but Hall of Fame, I just think they put these people in. It drives you crazy. Yeah, again,
but here's the problem, Joe. The Hall of Fames have turned into, and this goes to every one of them, have turned into a museum, not a Hall of Fame. And it's about money. Because if you don't put somebody in, guess what happens? Cooperstown, New York doesn't get 5,000 people showing up for a weekend to spend, all the money that they spend.
One more point before I go. Don't you think it gives a player a bad, false sense of achievement that says, "Oh, I didn't make it my first 3 years, but I made it on my 10th year"?
Yeah. I think if you're not in on your first or second ballot, I almost think that you And again, I'm a big believer. If I don't play with stats will maybe help a little bit. But you watch a guy and he's a Hall of Famer. I mean, you watch a guy and I know, okay, that guy's a Hall of Famer. I watched him play. I don't need to know what his stats are. I don't need to know if he hit 500 homers or 200 homers. That guy was, here's the way I always put it. First thing is, are you in the top 5 in your era? If you're not in the top 5 players in your era, you're not a Hall of Famer. There's just.
What about Don Mattingly? He wasn't in the top 5 players in his era.
Yeah. See, Don Mattingly's one of those guys who's, to me, was the best ball player in baseball from 1984 to probably 88 or 89.
89.
It's just
and look what happened.
Little too short. He needed a little bit. He needed another 2 or 3 years of good numbers.
So if you could say that statement, then that means that nobody that played between the years of 1984 to 1985 or 89 should ever get into the Hall of Fame, because if he's the best player, and he didn't make it, who else is going to get in there?
George Brett.
Brett had a body of work way before that.
But again, I said you have to be in the top 5. I think the top 5 players of that era could go. So, there were other guys who were, top 5 players in that time beside Mattingly. Again,
but the point is that you can't say certain things because it's a sad fact that somebody's not going to get in. And in this case, it's Don Mattingly. And a lot of people would agree with you that he was one of the best players of his time, of his era, but he just didn't have the numbers to get in. Correct.
And if tomorrow they voted him in based on, the last bunch of guys who gotten in, is he better player than Jim Thome? Yes, he's a better player than Jim Thome. Is he better player than some of the guys who got? Who's the guy from the White Sox that just played for Cleveland? Harold Baines. Is Don Mattingly a better player than Harold Baines? Was Don Mattingly a better player than Kirby Puckett? The answers are yes.
Is Don Mattingly better than Scott Rowland?
Yes, but again, are we basing it? See, years ago it was the best players. Then it got to be they based it against the position group. So if a first baseman was going in, they would compare him to other first basemen who were already in the Hall of Fame. It's gotten so watered down that you can't use that criteria. So for me, at this point in my life, I look at a guy like right now. There's a handful of guys that I would look at and say, they got a good chance of getting the Hall of Fame. Joe named a couple. Verlander, I think, is a guy who has a chance. Kershaw is going to go into the Hall of Fame. Trout, with a few more years, he's going to go into the Hall of Fame. There's no doubt in my mind. I think there's a guy that I would tell you that I would watch a couple more years, and that's Gerrit Cole. Gerrit Cole's a great pitcher. Needs a few more years and maybe a championship and a Cy Young. But to me, there's a handful of guys. But Jeff, I think to your point, and it's perfect, I think the numbers don't mean anything anymore. You can't hit the milestones.
Yeah.
They don't get there anymore.
It's not that the numbers don't mean anything anymore. It's the players in today's day and age can't hit the numbers that did mean something 15, 20, 25 years ago. They're not the same player that they once were. It shows there's a change in the game.
Yeah.
Reggie Jackson was a home run hitter. He would get up, he'd hit a home run, or he'd strike out. Now some of these guys, they hit home runs, they hit doubles, they hit triples, they whatever. They're a different kind of hitter than they once were. The game almost demands it at this point in time, that you can't just have the stereotypical player. Your right fielder who's going to hit 35 home runs and bat in 115 RBIs, but he's going to bat 189 all year. You can't have that. You pay him too much money, these guys.
Well, I mean, listen, we all used to mock guys like Dave Kingman, who hit 240 and 40 homers and drove in 90 runs. And if you look at the best players in the game today, that's the numbers they're putting up. And that's the sad part, Joe, is that the game has watered down in the way they play it. And when I look up and I hear that Pete Alonso's a great player and the guy's hitting 240, to me, you're not a great player. You may be a great home run hitter, but you're not a great player when you bat 240. But look around the league, and guys are getting $300 million contracts, hitting 230s and 240s and 250s.
Yeah.
It's a different game, and I'd hate to be the guy picking Hall of Famers. Think about it. Some of these guys are going to go into the Hall of Fame with 250 lifetime averages 20 years from now.
Probably like Manny Machado.
Yeah. There are guys like that who people, will say were great players, and then you look at their line, and it'll be barely 100 RBIs averaged a year, and there'll be very few guys over 300. When I see a guy hitting 340 now, it's like seeing a unicorn. So it's just a different game.
Watch that kid, not because I'm a Reds fan. Yeah, he's good. De La Cruz.
Yeah, and he's fun. I mean, you watch a kid, he runs the bases, he plays the game. Yeah, I love that. I love some of the young kids on the Yankees, but that kid's a bright spot. Just too many kids nowadays just trying to hit launch angles and how fast the ball's getting. Who cares how fast? They had a stat the other day. Stanton hit a 112 mile an hour ground ball. Who cares? It's a ground ball. Who cares how fast it went? It's a ground ball.
Let me tell you something. Fuck you. Today I stand in front of a ball going 112 miles an hour and try to catch it. No way. There's not a part of me that goes 112 miles an hour to catch it. There's no way.
Well, listen, guys. Happy anniversary, 9 years.
Thanks, Joe.
And I'll talk to you guys soon. Jeff, Tommy, talk to you guys soon.
Thanks, Joe.
See you later.
I'll talk to you soon. That's our buddy Joe Gansas. And again, a big thanks to Joe for jumping on the show 9 years ago and helping us get to where we are today. And I can't thank him enough. And again, one of my dearest friends, our dearest friends. I mean, we all go back together. So let's get back to the. Let's get back to a little NFL talk. And Jeff, so there's a lot of things this year. First off, the first time no Tom Brady in for the NFL. I mean, going back to 1999.
What the fuck is he doing?
So no Tom Brady this year. I mean, that's different. What's your thought on now he's trying to be they're trying to replace him with Baker Mayfield, but the old guard is officially gone. No more Mannings, Breeze, Tom Brady, the last of the I guess, would you count Rodgers the last of the old Lions?
Yeah, man, it's a sad end of an era. And we used to talk about this, like what happens when these guys go?
Yeah.
Who's the next ones?
Yep.
Step up and in. And I got to be honest with you. I don't think that do you think of today game when guys are hitting 50 plus that they bring excitement and the reason that they make it to the Hall of Fame eventually.
Big will fail here. Of course, do you think in today's game when guys are hitting 50 plus homers that? No, Matt. You know why I disagree with that? Because they're going 1 for 4 with 3 strikeouts and then usually a meaningless home run. So while I agree with you, to me the home run is one of the least exciting plays in all of baseball. To me, bunting, stealing, throwing a guy out at the plate, making a big catch in the field, hitting a home run for the most part, other than a big one in a big game. Most of these guys are hitting home runs and they're hitting 220. So to me, no.
But you know what, Tom? We've discussed this before. Okay, you take a game like baseball that probably doesn't have the same fan base that it once did.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? You don't have people that have the patience that want to sit and watch a game of baseball and watch a 1-0 game and think that it's a great game. The home run is what adds excitement to the game. And if you have a guy that can hit a home run every 4 or 5 games, maybe he has 2 multi-home run game every, twice a month, 3 times a month. They think it's great. The sports fan that would sit and enjoy a 1-0 game because it's a defensive struggle, not a boring 1-0 game. There are plenty of boring games that are out there like that. But somebody that minimal scoring that could sit and enjoy and watch it and appreciate that kind of game. The new baseball fans not like that.
Nope. They want to see home runs.
They want to see home runs. It's based off of,
I agree.
Like video games. Nobody plays a video game to win 1-0.
Yeah, how high did you hit it? How far did you hit it? How fast did you get there?
25-0 and punish them.
Yep. No, I agree. But let's get back to some football. Jeff, you brought up the quarterbacks, and there's a lot of rookies out there this year. Let's see. Alabama's Bryce Young went number 1 to Carolina. C.J. Stroud from Ohio State went number 2 to Houston. And then there's Florida's Anthony Richardson, who's with the Colts. All 3 of these guys could start. And, there's while we talk about the big quarterbacks, the Josh Allens, the Herberts, Burrows, Trevor Lawrence, there's 7 or 8 of those guys out there. Again, I think Herbert had a terrible year last year. Then you got the second wave with Tua and Jalen Hurts. Some people put Dak in there. I just don't put Dak Prescott in that group. While the running back position has been minimized, the quarterback position really kind of needs the help of the running back position nowadays, in my opinion.
Wait, say that again.
Okay, so people have been minimizing lately the running back position, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're talking about the lack of great quarterbacks. Now we can name 6, 7 guys, 7, 8 guys who are the top guys out there. But after that, and even those guys, they really do need the help of the running game. Yet,
of course, because you need something. What happens if the passing game gets shut down? You need to have some kind of other avenue to score, some kind of other avenue to make offense, to open up the running game, open up the passing game. You need the running game, because if not, you become one-dimensional, and all they got to do is guard against you, rush a bunch of guys, cover. Listen, there's a lot of different ways to play the game. You know that.
Yeah, and listen, there's a lot. Not everybody has a Burrow or a Mahomes. I mean, okay, so Jeff, a good point right now is your boy, and Aaron Rodgers' former team now is in the full blow of the Jordan Love era. I mean, do we really know what Jordan Love is going to do with that team this year? A lot of question marks out there. I mean, what's going to happen in Frisco? Is Brock Purdy for real? I think there's a lot of question marks out there at the quarterback position. Justin Fields in Chicago.
You know what I read? There were people that were actually saying that Sam Darnold was looking good.
I've read the same thing. I
believe he's the only healthy quarterback over there.
I believe that is the case. I still think that what's his name is going to be healthy for the season, but is he going to be the guy? I mean, there's a lot of teams out there who are dealing with either retreads or rookie quarterbacks. So while everybody calls this a quarterback-driven league, and obviously they throw the ball enough times that's what it is. I think that there should be bigger value on the running backs. There should be bigger money spent on those guys because you need. Of course he blows, but I'm just telling you we're just telling you what people saying out there. We didn't say it, Matt. Somebody said Jeff's the first guy that he hates Sam Darnold.
I wouldn't want Sam Darnold if I was going on a high school team. I wouldn't want Sam Darnold.
Yeah. So
but right now, Sam Darnold is the only quarterback on the San Francisco 49ers that's not recovering from an injury.
Yeah. So basically what we're learning is Trey Lance is not working out because they're looking to either hand the game to Sam Darnold, which I can't believe, or Brock Purdy. And Matt, I don't know what Brock Purdy is. The guy played 6 or 7 games, got hurt. Can he be a good solid player? Maybe. I have no idea at this point. So he's got a lot of weapons. So yeah, you're probably right. He probably can be a very solid player right now. But I think there's a lot more question marks running around this league at the quarterback position than people do. Justin Fields, Jeff. Here's a guy 2 years ago people thought he was horrendous, and then last year all of a sudden he was rushing for 1,000 yards and he was a great quarterback. I don't know how rushing for 1,000 yards makes you a great quarterback. What is Lamar Jackson this year? What's he going to do this year? I think there's a lot out there.
Funny you just mentioned Justin Fields.
Go ahead.
I forget where it was that I read or heard, or it might have been on the radio or in one of the newspapers. I can't remember.
Yeah,
my mind is like moldy cheese. And they were saying that Justin Fields may be the best running back in the NFL.
Yeah.
I'm like, you got to be kidding me, but except he's not a running back.
Right.
And it's unbelievable. You go out. This is a very in the moment type of league now. The way sports is, you go out and do one thing well, and that's it. You're the best at it. Justin Fields 2 years ago, wasn't he like they were questioning? Was it he was pick this, that, and the other thing?
Oh yeah, 2 years ago they were going to run him out of town.
Yeah, he had a couple good games running the ball, and now he's one of the hottest items in the league. How does that happen?
Because the quarterback position is changing again, and the problem is they're paying them like they're Breeze and Manning and Brady, but they're playing like they're single wing quarterbacks. They're throwing for 3,000 yards or 20-something hundred yards, and they're running for 700, 800, 1,000 yards, and people are calling them quarterbacks. And I get it. That's the position. That's what they've turned this game into now. But these guys are not. These guys, to Matt's point, most of these guys at best are game managers, and even that they're not. I mean, what's his name? Baker Mayfield hasn't even proven to be that. Donald hasn't proven to be that. What's Kirk Cousins at this point in time? What's Jimmy Garoppolo? Is he going to stay healthy? There's a lot of question marks out there. So, yes, he said he was going to throw for 4,000 plus because he loaded offense at wide receiver. So, fine, if he doesn't elevate. Let me tell you something, Matt. I don't care if you brought back Jerry Rice. I don't care if Walter Payton lined up in the backfield. Lamar Jackson is one of the most overrated players in the NFL today, and maybe over the last 5 or 10 years. Lamar Jackson, I as an athlete, great. As a running quarterback, good. He'll never be a great quarterback. could not begin to even put him in there. So
no, he doesn't even look like he's built like a quarterback. He looks like he's built like a little wide receiver, a little defensive back. You know, maybe he's just slight. I wouldn't want my quarterback running around if he looked like that. I'd be afraid he's going to get broken in half. Yeah. One wrong tackle. That's it. His career is over. Look at RG3.
Yeah. Listen, and he has never proven to be a great quarterback at throwing the ball. So
he did get a little bit better as his career went on, but he's definitely not a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Absolutely not.
Did you say he's a top 10 because of what he could do overall?
No, I would not. No, I would have to sit back and think about my top 10. He would not make my top 10 because I think guys like, and I'm not a huge fan of Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback. Obviously, you got Allen and Mahomes, Burrows, Herbert. There's that whole group is much better. I don't put him in my top 10 now. Could he make 15? Maybe. I guess maybe, but not my top 10. So, but the quarterback position, that's the part I don't get. Like, there's some really good backs out there. And I think the kid from Texas, Matt's going to say, there's some good running backs out there, but people are minimizing it. And we just saw what happened with the Saquon Barkley negotiation. And whoever his agent is, they need to take him outside and shoot him for not accepting the deal the Giants offered him, because he's never going to get that money back.
But, Tom, it's maybe the agent said to him, I wouldn't take this deal. I think you could do better.
Yeah.
And the end result is it's up to Barkley.
Oh, sure, of course.
And he turns around. He's like, listen, I'm feel as though that I'm 16 million and above. I'm not taking 15 million. And then he could ruin it himself. I mean,
no doubt. No doubt.
Going to say, listen, take it now because the market's going to bottom out. I mean, I haven't heard of Elliott going to talk to anybody.
No, you're right.
Dalvin Cook, he's supposedly going to see the Jets, talk to the Jets, but this is his first team. He was released a month ago.
Yep.
Over a month ago.
Again, people don't want to pay the backs that kind of money anymore. People don't want to pay the backs to do that anymore. So, listen, it's good. It's a quarterback-driven league, and I get it. But I think the problem is the quarterback talent is not the same. And I don't care. Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Richardson, I'm going to be surprised if any of them turn it to be the next good one. I think there's big flaws in all of their games as quarterbacks. As athletes, Jeff, as football players, they're tremendous. But, it's a different game when you play college ball and there's 5 or 6 guys across from you in any game who are pro ready than when you get to the pros and they're all pro ready. It's a different ball game. So,
of course it is. Of course it is. It's a different speed. It's a different game.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've all talked about that for the longest time. But
no, we didn't forget about Russell.
When you're not, he just pops up out of nowhere with his shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen. Let's get Russell Wilson involved. I want to get to some other stuff, but I want to finish up on the quarterbacks, Jeff. But to his point, Russell Wilson went in last year to Nathaniel Hackett, and he made them change the offense around to build, because he wanted to throw for 4,000 yards to prove that Pete Carroll didn't build the offense. Listen, a guy like Russell Wilson was successful because he had a great running game around him. He had a fantastic defense. He ran enough and was basically a really good game manager who made big plays. Okay, not a great arm, not a great quarterback, but a really good game manager and a top quarterback. But he went in last year and completely changed that whole thing. So can Sean Payton revive him this year? I don't know. What I saw last year, no. Now, if he comes in and he turns him into a mini Drew Brees, Denver's going to be a tough team to beat in that division.
Yeah, well, listen, time is going to tell. But,
yeah,
he's getting older too.
Yep.
And who knows, does he have the stamina to go 17 games? And that's a hard division to play in too, man.
Absolutely, 100%.
AFC West is playing against one another, it's a pretty brutal division.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. So, But you brought up guys who need to do it. And let's talk about some teams, Jeff, around the NFL that I think are running out of time. I have a big thing, and Matt, maybe you'll agree. Frankie, maybe you agree. I think teams, for the most part, have a shelf life. One cycle, maybe 4 years. If you're lucky, you get 5 or 6 years, and then your cap problems start to happen. You a couple bad number one picks, and it takes time, and you got to rebuild it. There's very few teams. The Patriots did it forever. There's been some teams that have been better than good, more great. Maybe you could say the Packers. They've dominated that division. But I got 8 teams, Jeff, that I think are in a win now or never situation. Can I give them to you, and you can give me a little feedback on it?
Go right ahead.
First one is the Minnesota Vikings. Coming off a 13-4 season. Disappointing at the end for part of the season. Some people thought they were the best team in football. I think with Cousins, it's a short time before Justin Jefferson's looking for big contracts and big money. They let Cook go. I think this is a big year. And I got to be honest with you, that division to me is wide open. I don't know who the best team in that division is. But to me, this is a make or break year. And I'm not talking playoffs for this team. I'm talking serious run and a Super Bowl shot. And if they don't get there, I agree with you, Matt, but this is the year. And I agree. I like the Lions myself. Yeah, Jeff, what's your thought?
Well, I could go with that. There's a lot of players. Cousins is getting older on the Vikings. Didn't they let another couple guys go? They made a few. They traded some guys away or cut a few guys. As well as letting Dalvin
Harrison Smith. There's a couple guys. So
I mean, it certainly seems as though that they've given up on what they once had.
But again, I think they got enough to make a run at it. But
what's a run, Tom? They win one playoff game. They beat a
I think that division. I think here's the thing: the NFC is wide open this year. Tell me the team that you think is the team to beat in the NFC. I mean, is it San Francisco based on last year?
San Francisco only because you got to see who their quarterback is and if they're healthy. The Eagles, if I had to pick one team, I would maybe say the Eagles or Cowboys. The Lions, I think the Lions, this is a big year for the Lions. Yep. They got to prove who they are and show that they could hang and beat some teams. I don't think it's going to be the Buccaneers. I don't think it's going to be anybody at all from the NFC South. I don't think it's going to be anybody from the NFC West, except for the exception of maybe San Francisco, because Arizona, they have questions.
Oh, big
Seattle,
yeah,
is going to have questions.
Yep.
The Rams, you got Stafford coming off an injury, and that team is getting a little bit older, so I think that they're on their last leg.
Yep.
Where you got the NFC East, I don't think Washington now with the sale of the team going through and everything else, that may affect them. Then they're not going to win. I don't think the Giants have done enough to win the division. I got to say that it's got to be Philly and then Dallas in the NFC East, I feel.
Yeah, Matt, I like your list. I don't know about the Saints, and I have a serious problem with the Seahawks giving Geno Smith a second year. But yeah, I mean, could they make the playoffs again? Sure.
That I got a question too.
Yeah,
the Seahawks going with Geno Smith. I mean, we've seen Geno play, on the Jets and the Giants. The legend killer himself, Geno Smith, as he destroyed Eli Manning's shot at immortality there. Destroyed the shell of a man.
There we go. Let me know when you're done. Anyway, second team I have up there is the Dallas Cowboys. And listen, Dak's going to be looking for another contract. They've had personnel changes. They have great players in Parsons and CeeDee Lamb. But this is a team that I think needs to win. I mean, how many years? And I'm not trying to be a dickhead Giant fan, but how many years can they be? Win the division, get a wild card spot, and not make the playoffs at all. At some point, Jerry's got to at least wake up and say this team's got to be rebuilt in a different way. And I think this is a big year for the Cowboys. I don't see it. But I don't believe in Dak. I don't think there's enough talent there. But again, it's a very weak conference, so the Cowboys will make the playoffs. I just don't think they're a great team as built right now. And I think the problem for them is going to be Dak's going to be looking for another contract in a year or so, and I think this is a big year for them.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give you another one. The Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins have loaded. They've gone out and got. Let me see. I got the list here somewhere. So obviously they already picked up. They've had Tyreek Hill last year, Bradley Chubb, Jalen Ramsey. They've gone out there and
they're definitely adding pieces. They're making
right. So to me, though, at some point now, here's the thing: if and I agree, Matt, Tua is too frail. So So to me, if you're them, if I would have went out this year, and is he out 4 to 6 weeks? I know he got carted out. So wow, he's out. So he'll be back second week of the season. But to me, I would have made a big run at a quarterback if I were them, because I don't believe in Tua. I saw Tua throw the ball at the end of the season. He was horrendous. And I didn't think he was very good.
Who do you go after?
That's the question. That's the question of the day. What quarterback do you go after? I don't know the answer.
Bridgewater's still unsigned.
I tell you the truth, I was a little surprised they weren't involved in the Aaron Rodgers thing. Now, maybe Rodgers didn't want to go there, but how could you not? If you're Aaron Rodgers, you can go play in Miami, in Florida, where there's no income tax. I was surprised that they weren't involved in that, because I would have given up the farm to bring him in if I was Miami. If they brought him in there, they're, to me, not defensively, but offensively, I think they're a better team than the Jets right now. Short of quarterback.
Oh, I don't think they actually have.
Well, that's the problem. So, but that's why I would have went hard that way. So I think Miami, if they don't go after it this year, they have problems with Tua, then I think that's a team that gets blown up again. I'll give you another one, is the Chargers and the Buffalo Bills. I think the Bills have probably maxed out their opportunities at this point.
The Buffalo Bills, I don't know. I find it hard to believe that you think that they're ending their run. I really do.
Yeah, I do. I believe that the division's getting better. Yeah, I think the division's getting better. The conference is better. And the problem is, I think there's infight. Look what's going on with Stephon Diggs. They still don't have a running game. We'll see this year if they can put one together. I think that Allen's a great quarterback, but I also think he's taken a beating over the years, and I think he's one of those guys that one of these years I don't think the tools are going to keep up.
Oh, I agree with Matt there when he says that Josh Allen keeps the fire.
Absolutely.
I think he does more than enough to keep that team into it, man. I really do. And just a couple of years ago, Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs looked like they were coming to an end, and then there they go into the Super Bowl again and win the Super Bowl. So listen, until it happens, you can't count them out.
No, you can't count them out. But Jeff, I think 2 years ago, that great game with Kansas City, I think that was their moment. I think that was their Super Bowl year, and they just didn't get the ball at the end of the year to do it. I think to me right now, I don't know what Kansas City is yet. I think Cincinnati's better. I think there are teams that are better than them right now. And again, I think teams go stale. It ain't, after a while, teams know what you do. They know your tendencies. You keep the same players. You keep the same system. And unless you got really great players, teams will find ways to beat you. And I think that's going to start to happen. I think teams are going to beat Buffalo this year. I think Buffalo's still going to be at the top of the division, but I think they're going to have people nipping at their heels this year.
Well, we'll find out soon when the league is going to start the year. It's going to start soon, but I don't think that they're going to be out of it. I think they're going to be in the thick of it.
All right. No, I would totally agree with you. I don't think they're going to be, chasing a playoff spot. I think they're certainly going to be a wild card team, and they'll probably wind up winning the division. I'm going to have a hard time thinking that there are going to be teams that are going to be better than them. But I think there's a difference between winning your division every year and making a serious run or going to the Super Bowl. And to be honest with you, if this incarnation of the team does not make it to the Super Bowl, it's a big disappointment. That team was as good or better than anybody in the NFL, and they just didn't get there. And I'm sorry, that's a big problem. And to me, I don't know if they've done enough this season to get there. Why?
Tom,
What?
I got to run to the bathroom real quick.
Sure.
Take a squirt. I'll be right back.
Sure. Matt, what's the why? Why what? Why won't the Bills? For the Bills, again, I agree with you. Okay, it's a solid team, but solid has not gotten them past where they've gotten so far, Matt. At what point are you going to get better and do it? And you only get so many opportunities at this. I'm asking my own question. Yeah, so again, I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's the lack of another big player beside Josh Allen. I don't know why they haven't gone to the Super Bowl in the last 3 or 4 years. To me, 2 years ago, they were the best team in football. Kansas City beat them in that game and all of that. But right now, I'm not sure that they're tops in the AFC. I don't know. I would say right now, Kansas City, Cincinnati, for sure, are better teams than them. Now, Jacksonville, Miami, I think Miami may be the best team in that division. I'm disagreeing with you on the Jets. I'm not sure yet. Here's the question I'll ask you, Matt, and anybody else out there. Do we expect Rodgers to be better this year than he was last year? Because last year, Rodgers was not good. He got outplayed by a lot of what's his name? Daniel Jones outplayed him in London. Aaron Rodgers was not a great. Now you can say, well, he had a bad thumb, he had this, he had that. Maybe he's 40 years old. Aaron Rodgers was not a great player. And again, I agree with you, man. I don't trust Tua either. But there's enough talent on that team, and I just think that they may be the best team in that division. I don't know. We'll see. But again, what you say you think the Jets win that division, I get it. They got the best defense in that division. They may have top 3 defense in the league. But at the end of the day, Rodgers last year was not a great quarterback. What makes us think this year Rodgers is a great quarterback?
I don't think that it's that Rodgers is a great quarterback this year. Okay. Yep. I think what it is Rodgers is interested this year. I think Rodgers was clearly really not interested in last year. I think Green Bay wasn't as good as people wanted them to think that they were.
Okay.
So I think that what's going to happen is I think Rodgers is reinvigorated. Also, too, with Rodgers giving up some of his money, I think he did it for a reason, and I think they're going to be going after Dalvin Cook. At least I would like to think so. And
but I don't think that's the problem with the team, Jeff. If you wanted to fix the Jets with some of that money,
they need to shore up that offensive line.
Yes, that's it. To me, that's it. I think that is where I would put it. And again, even a linebacker, I think it's a good core. Moses got to stay healthy, but tight end and offensive line are the 2 glaring needs for me for the Jets.
And Matt, you say last year his wide receivers were okay. So what did he do? He took 2 of them over there with him.
Yeah, he brought Cobb and Lazard over them.
The Jet wide receivers are there. Maybe the Jet wide receivers will make a little bit of a difference. But, I mean, you still brought Lazard and who was the other guy?
Cobb, Randall Cobb.
What are you, 2?
Yeah. Again, I think the Jets, and here's the other problem I have with it, Matt. I think the Jet coaching staff left a lot to be desired last year. There was a lot of bad decisions made in game. And there's a lot of coaches that do it. So, but I think that the jury's out if that's a good coaching staff or not.
On the Jets?
Yes. Sorry, there was at least 2 or 3 games where clock management was an issue, where they left timeouts on the board that they could have had to drive for another score. Again, I'm not telling you he's a bad coach yet. This year will tell you, but to me, I'm still
improve that team every year he was there, that team got a little bit better every year that he was there.
Not disagreeing.
A big jump this year.
Again, I'm not disagreeing, but that there's a difference between the talent getting better and you getting a little more of the talent and being a game manager and winning games, winning some of the games that you lost because you made bad decisions handling the game itself. Okay, so yeah, Matt, I agree with that. But who's making the calls? It's not the play calling that's a problem. It's when to call a timeout, when to not call a timeout. It's decisions in a game. It's game management as a coach is huge. And what you do early in the first quarter matters when you get to the third, to the second half. There are decisions you need to make. And I was not impressed. So I'm hoping for better this year, but I'm not sold on this coaching staff yet. Again, they have great pieces on defense. Let's see that happen again this year. So, but I think the bigger question for me, Jeff, is not the big question for me is still am I going to see a different Rodgers? And if that was the case, that he just wasn't into it last year, then I have a big problem with that. To me, as a fan of the game, if you tell me that the reason he played bad last year because he just wasn't interested, give the money back. Give the money back.
Listen, ain't nobody ever giving their money back. You know that.
No, I got that. But you know what I mean? You go out there, you take the money, you go out there and you play the game. And that's the problem I have with it. So, but listen, let's talk a little Giant football. We talked a little bit early on. There's a big expectation for the Giants. Okay. Second year with the coach of the year. And it's a lot harder when people expect you to do well. And people, they just gave Andrew Thomas a ton of money to play left tackle. And the guy has fulfilled the prophecy that I had. I thought he would be a great one. And he is. You need Neal on the other side to have a better year than last year. And there's still in the middle, still a big possibility. I love the kid they drafted at center. He will start this year. There's no doubt in my mind that kid will play. But again, is Daniel Jones going to take that next step? And the defense has got to be better. We had one of the worst rush defenses last year, Jeff. Teams just ran all over the Giants, and it can't happen again.
Well, you say that Daniel Jones needs to take a step forward this year.
Sure.
Okay. What's the mindset of Saquon Barkley going in? Is he going to be butthurt that he didn't get the money that he wanted? Is he just signing because he doesn't want to look like a bad guy? Is he going to come out and play his hardest? Is he going to be one of these guys that comes out, plays, and they're like, oh, shit, man, I tweaked my hamstring, and then you don't see him for 3-4 weeks, and he just glides through collecting money until next year, and he tries to get a multi-year deal next year? Like, what happens with him?
Again, here's the thing. He's got to go out and play hard. He can't come in and have a bad year. He can't miss 4 games with a sore hamstring, because then next year he won't even get the franchise tag. So he's playing for a contract next year. He's got to go out and have a monster season. He doesn't have a choice. He's got to go out and have a monster year. You know what I mean? Otherwise, he's going to be looking for a $3 million deal next year.
I think the money goes down for him after next year.
It's possible. I mean, he's another year older. I'm sure the Giants will offer him a contract, but nobody's going to give him $10 million, or nobody's going to give him $15 million a year next year for 3 years.
How old is he next year? 27?
He'll be 27. I think he's 26 this year, 27 next year.
Wow. Amazing at that age, that their shelf life is so
yeah.
Running backs. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. And I get the fact that you want to make every dollar you had. That's why I said you should have took the 3-year deal this year. He would have got $40 million, and then maybe you get the last couple of years at a bargain price, and you hang around and make a couple extra bucks. But you try to grab a ring someplace. But yeah, I'll be surprised. But this Giant team has a chance to make the playoffs. The conference is terrible. I know Matt likes the Saints. I'm not falling in line there. The Seahawks, I don't know what the Seahawks are going to be. The 49ers, I'm not a Purdy guy. I'm not sure yet. The Vikings, Lions, I think the Giants' toughest spot is going to be their own division. So, but should be interesting. Again, Hard Rocket Sports, that's Jeff and I'm Tom. This is our NFL training camp preview show. The show, Jeff, you know it. The show lives and breathes football.
Do you think that, what about some of the guys that aren't signed? We've been talking about the teams and the guys that are in there, but what about Elliott, Bridgewater? Do you see these guys even playing this year?
Yeah, you'll see. You'll see guys that get hurt. I mean, you're already seeing guys getting hurt in training camp. What's his name's out for 6 weeks? Jalen Ramsey. Guys are going to get hurt in training camp, preseason games. Those guys will wind up in somebody's camp, maybe a veteran minimum, But to me, Elliott's been done for years. I think he's been done for at least 2 years. I didn't see it. I think he's been a shell of what he was early on in his career. So yeah, I think you'll see those guys will wind up in somebody's camp, but it'll probably be after second preseason game because they're still looking for big money, Jeff.
And then you take a guy like Joe Mixon.
Yep.
On the Bengals, who had some legal issues early on in the offseason. And they cut his salary almost in half. And there he is. He's still on the Bengals and still, going to be playing.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of how it works, unfortunately. I don't know how else to say it. That's kind of how it works. I mean, when you're a good player, people, they find ways to get you on the field and pay you the money and overlook the things. What did I say? Was upset about it, but he will play and play for next year. Yeah, he has to, Matt. There's no doubt that Barkley's got to play for his next contract. So, I think he wants to be a Giant. I don't think he will be a Giant. I think this what you saw from this front office is they are going to pay what they want, and they're going to put a price. They put a price, and they said, "This is what you're worth us." And if you don't want to do it, then you go play someplace else. And I applaud it. I'm sorry, I do. I applaud that. That's the Belichick way. That's just the Belichick way, and that's been successful. Would you agree?
Listen, Belichick knows when to get rid of guys. He just seems to have that ability, no matter who it is.
Yeah.
When the Giants signed Nate Solder, and we said it then, and I was like, if he let him go and he just let him walk away. There had to be a reason for that. And he had the one rough year, then COVID year, and he didn't play because of COVID. And he came back, and he still wasn't able to rebound. He just, I don't know. Belichick just has a gift.
Yeah.
Knows when to let him go.
I agree. No, that I certainly agree. Yeah. He's got an ability to know when to get rid of a guy. He can still be strong on inside. Matt, I don't know. I have not seen enough out of Zeke the last couple of years to say that he'll get a shot in somebody's camp. Somebody will get hurt. They'll want a veteran backup. I don't think he'll be a starter again, and I don't think he's going to log big minutes. I think at the very least he'll pull off like the Tampa did with Leonard Fournette. Kind of bring that veteran guy in the last minute. And he'll find his places to have big games. But I don't think there's anything left. There's no threads left.
You talk about Fournette, like he's old too. He's a year older than Barkley. That's
probably, yeah, sure.
Yeah, he's not. He don't have that many mileage on him.
Nope. But that's the unfortunately that's the position. That's the position now, and
Let me ask you something.
Sure.
And Matt, please, you chime in too. When did the running back position start to decline? Was it Todd Gurley? Was it Bell? When he sat out the year and came back, when did they all of a sudden, not give these guys the benefit of the doubt, so to speak?
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly when. It was the mid 2000s when teams started going, and the Giants were a big part of that. When teams started going to three-headed monsters, that's where it was. When the Giants had Jacobs and Ward. And Bradshaw, teams started to realize that you could go out there and not have to pay one guy to be the focal point. You can pay three guys and play the hot hand. And if a guy's not healthy, you have three guys in the system. So I think it's a little further back than that, Matt. But Matt's right. It's in the last decade or so when teams just started saying, "Screw it, we don't need an Earl Campbell or Walter Payton anymore. We need 3 guys who are really good instead of 1 guy who's great." That's what I say.
It's unbelievable because for years, running backs were piling up stats.
Sure.
And it was just unbelievable. Like, when what was his face? Who was the running back from Dallas 30 years ago almost?
Emmitt Smith.
Emmitt Smith.
Yep.
And he was just climbing up the ladder, setting records after record after record. And it's like now, like all of those records that nobody's even going to really pay attention to them for a while. And like there's going to be nobody that, when I mean pay attention to them, there's going to be nobody that's going to come in the league and have a chance to even play long enough or play enough to even come close to those records.
No. Yeah, no, I would agree with you. Yeah, again, the leagues change. It's become a quarterback-driven league. The problem is people haven't realized that the quarterback play has diminished tremendously. I think that's the problem. Is everybody still thinks we got 2 Mannings, Breeze, Brady, Rivers, Roethlisberger. You don't have those guys anymore who are going to step back in the pocket, throw 35 times.
You don't have those guys anymore, though, Tom. But
no,
guys that are there in the league now are, they're the stars of the league today.
No, I got you. But are they equal in value or equal in talent as those guys are? Is the top 5, 7 guys today the same ability? Well, they Hall of Famers like those 7 guys were.
No, I don't think so. But there still has to be a top 7 guys.
No. I agree with that. Listen, if everybody has, if the top 10 guys with IQs were 140s, and that's great. Now the top 10 guys of IQs are in 110. They're still top 10, but that doesn't mean they're as smart as them. To me, yes.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
But these guys today, you'll have to. I can give you top 7 quarterbacks today. Are those top 7 as good as those guys before? And the answer is no. In my opinion, the answer is no. That's the difference. That's the difference. You even when you get to the end of the 9s and the 10s back in the day, they were really good quarterbacks. Today, you get to 9 and 10, you're struggling.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh Allen's close too, Matt. Josh Allen is one of those guys that will probably get there. After that, I don't know. Now the Herberts and the rest of them, I'm not sure about where they're
Herbert is a little. I don't want to say skittish, but that what I mean by skittish, not afraid, but he just he's not as refined as some of the other ones. To me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
I think that Allen is more refined than him. I think that Burrow is more refined than him. I think he's the next level down.
And listen, we're spending way too much time on quarterbacks, but when you're getting into the league and starting quarterback of the Washington Redskins this year is Sam Howell. When Geno Smith's the starting quarterback, got a big contract from the Seahawks. Desmond Ridder is going to start in Atlanta. There's a serious drop. I mean, you think about it, that next group, Jeff, was Matt Ryan. It was Sam Dalton. It was Andy Dalton. I'm sorry. There was a second group of guys. Put Russell Wilson in that. That were really good quarterbacks. There isn't that same next level anymore. Not yet. Not in my opinion.
Well, listen, some of these younger guys, they have the chance to be up and comers and see where they develop and fit into in the league. But I have a tendency to agree with you. They just don't seem to have that. I don't know. They just don't seem to have it.
Yep.
To make it. I don't think they're going to be one of the leaders in the league, one of the best in the league. I don't see them as a top 5. Some of them, listen, we could be wrong. This is what happens. These guys do come in sometimes and play hard and move up the ranks, but I think it's going to be a little harder for some of them that are in the league right now. And Matt, nobody. I mean, I don't discount what Herbert can do. It's just when I watch Herbert play, I mean, it was how many games in a row that he was breaking 300 yards, but he just, I don't know, just seems like he's not as refined as some of the other guys that are playing. He just has a little wild streak to him, I guess. Maybe I would say, you know, a little sloppy. You know, I don't know. That's just my take on it.
All right, so yeah, let's get off the quarterbacks. We've been on it for a long time, and let's go through some of the divisions. Let's do some of our picks for who's going to win the divisions, and run through it. We got about 25 minutes or better of the show, so let's start running through it, Jeff. So let's start in the AFC. I'm going to start right in your division. I'm looking at predictions from other places. Jeff, AFC East. This is the only division I'm going to ask you. Give me the order of who wins the division. Give it to me. Is it Jets, Miami?
I think it's going to be Bills, Jets, Miami, Patriots.
Okay, so Bills will win the division. Jets going to get a wild card.
Yeah.
Okay. AFC.
It's going to be close, but I just don't think the Jets have it this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Miami and Buffalo. I think the Jets. I don't think Rodgers is the same quarterback. I think that some guys who played really, really well last year, who might not play as well this year, and I think it's a really tough conference and division. So I think the Jets will be better. I think they'll win 9, maybe 10 games. Wouldn't shock me if they won 11, but I still think Miami and Buffalo are the top 2 teams in that division. Jeff, give me the win. Who's winning the AFC North? You got Cincinnati. You got Baltimore. Some people think are better this year. Pittsburgh with Kenny Pickett. And the Cleveland Browns are an interesting team. I mean, what are the Browns? Is Deshaun Watson ever going to live up to that contract?
I don't think so. I got to go with Cincinnati, Tom. I really think that they're probably the best team in that division to me. You know, they seem to be the perennial Super Bowl contender.
I would say for the next 5 years, I would be surprised if they weren't. I would agree with you, Jeff. Let's go to the AFC South. I agree with you. I'm going to pick Cincinnati in that division. I'll be honest. I'm not sure. I think there's going to be 3 teams out of the AFC East that's going to get picks. I don't think any. I think it's going to be one in the AFC North and one in the South that go to the playoffs. But so we both take it Cincinnati. In the South, you got Jacksonville, Tennessee, Houston, and Indy. I don't like anybody but Jacksonville. I think they had a real good year last year and a great playoff win last year, coming back against the Chargers. I like the way Trevor Lawrence played. I think that they're a team on the rise. I
don't know, man. I think that it's still going to be Tennessee this year.
Okay.
That's what I think.
You think there's enough there with the way that team's built? Tannehill, I think, to me, that another team that, Vrabel, I think that team's on its last legs.
I think they're on their last legs, but I just don't think there's another team ready to overtake them. I don't think it's that they're that good. I don't think there's another team ready to overtake them in that division.
All right, and then in the West, here's an interesting division. Last year, we thought this was going to be the best division in the league, and it wasn't. So, Kansas City, can they get back to another Super Bowl? The Chargers, who were very disappointed for me last year. The Broncos, I don't know what to make of the Broncos. Sean Payton taking over for probably one of the worst coaching jobs I've ever seen in Nathaniel Hackett as a head coach. And the Raiders, Josh McDaniel, Jimmy Garoppolo, Derek Carr's moved on. Jeff, who wins the AFC West?
I got to go with the Chiefs, man. I think it's going to be the Chiefs.
Now, can you see big years out of all 4 teams?
In the AFC
West, yeah.
No, I don't think so, man. Who knows if Garoppolo, is he going to make it through the whole season?
He never seems to. I agree with you. I like Kansas City and I like the Chargers.
Yeah, well, I think it's Kansas City. I don't think that. I don't know. I mean, listen, can Russell Wilson rebound? I don't know. He's getting older too.
I don't think so. I don't think there's enough depth. Sorry, Frankie. I don't. I also don't think that. I think Sean Payton's a bit on the overrated side. And I'm sorry. He had a guy, again, I've said this to you 100 times on the show the last few months. I think he had one of the best quarterbacks of the generation, and he had one Super Bowl appearance. So I'm sorry. At some point, you're this genius. You got a Hall of Fame quarterback, and you went to one Super Bowl. You didn't go to 3 and lose and win one. You went to one Super Bowl. I got to say, so I have no faith in, and Russell Wilson, I think, is an overrated, obnoxious quarterback. Worried about a pass rush. Well, yeah, again, Frankie, I think there's a few holes there, but I think that defense is not bad. I just don't have any faith in Russell Wilson, and I think that's the problem I have. So I'm going to pick Denver to go 3 in that division, Jeff.
Yeah, I think it's going to be close between LA and Denver, but I'm gonna give the nod to LA.
All right, so give me the AFC Championship game today, and who goes to the Super Bowl out of the AFC?
Oh man, wow. Well, I would like to tell you that it'll be Kansas City and the Jets, but I think it's going to be Kansas City and somebody. I don't know if it's going to be the Jets. And I think that Kansas City is going to go to another Super Bowl this year. You
do? Wow.
I believe so. Yeah.
It's hard to argue. I mean,
until shown otherwise, that's just the way it is to me.
Yep, I agree. I will take Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati is that team. I think they're good enough. I think if they stay healthy, I like Cincinnati. I think it's Cincinnati's time.
I told you this earlier. It was announced today that Burrow got hurt in practice.
Okay.
So they carted him off the field with a calf injury. So, I mean, that warrants watching and see what happens. But, it's early. I mean, maybe it was just a strain. It was the heat, maybe muscle cramps. Who knows? That's official, Frank. He's okay.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I heard about Ramsey. I knew that. 49ers beat the Eagles. Yeah, Matt, that's a tough one for me. I don't disagree with you on that one. I don't think that's a shock if you want to tell me 49ers and the Eagles. I'm just trying to get to the NFC now.
All right, well, let's see what happens.
Yeah, I still like Cincinnati. I think there's a shelf life to teams, and I think getting back there again is going to be very difficult for that team. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to. My computer's very slow today. I want to get over to. Okay, we're in the West. I love this magazine, online magazine. I love online magazine. Okay, so let's get over to the NFC, Jeff. And again, I think this is a conference that's wide open. Yes, I think there's a couple of favorites right off the bat. But let's run through the division. So, Jeff, right now, I'm going to tell you it's going to be Eagles, Giants, Cowboys, and the Redskins. That's how I'm seeing the NFC East.
I see it a little differently.
I would only assume that you would.
I see it: Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, Redskins.
All right, which is fair enough. I disagree. I think the Giants are better.
I think. Well, listen, I don't doubt you for saying that.
Yep.
But I think that the Giants, they, as well as becoming better together as a unit, I think that they have to overcome a little adversity with the Barkley contract, on the Barkley end. Not so much the rest of the team. And if they do that, I see no reason why they can't be the second best team in that division.
Yep. I don't think they're better than the Eagles yet. I don't think they're better than the Eagles, but I think they have a chance to be better than the Cowboys. I don't think they're better than the Eagles yet. I don't know what the Cowboys are. I don't know what the Giants are. So I think that's a tough one for me. We'll see how that plays out. Jeff, let's go to the NFC North. I think this is a division that's wide open. I think the favorite most people are going to pick are the Vikings. I like the Lions in this one. So Packers, Detroit, Minnesota, Chicago. Which way do you like?
I mean, I don't know, Tom. I can't really give a solid, but if I had to pick for the sake of picking, I'm going to go with the Vikings right now because I don't think that the Lions are ready. I really don't. A lot of people are picking them.
Yep.
I don't see it. They've gone too many years without doing anything, and I don't think that they've made that many strides in the right direction yet. I think they're going in the right direction, but I don't think that they're there yet to to win that.
I'm a fan of the Lions. I think this is a big year for them to step up and grab the division by the throat. I think they're an improved team. So I'm taking the Lions in that one. Jeff's going to go to Vikings. The South, Jeff, boy, I don't know. The Carolina Saints, Falcons, Bucks. I mean, does Derek Carr make that division that division his?
He's probably the most accomplished quarterback in that division right now, right?
I would say. I mean, Desmond Ridder, Bryce Young, and basically either Kyle Trask or Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say,
Yeah, I mean, I think. I think based on the fact that there's nobody else in front of them, I would have to say the Saints probably win that division at this point. I'm not a huge fan, but Kamara's had issues. Is Michael Thomas even playing this year? I can't figure it out. So, but I'll take the Saints. I think they're the only team coming out of that division making the playoffs. Saints, Falcons, Panthers. Okay, but you think Tampa's dead last? I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. And now the West, isn't it? This is the only interesting question to me here is 49ers or Seahawks. I am not a fan of Geno Smith. Do you bank on him having another good year like last year?
I don't think so. I think it's going to be the 49ers, Rams, Seahawks, and then Cardinals.
Yeah, I got no faith in the Rams. I think they sold their soul 2 years ago, whatever it was, 3 years ago to win a Super Bowl, and that's it. There's nothing left there. I like the 49ers. I think their defense and their playmakers are just great. I mean, they just have great. I think if Matt's right, if Brock Purdy is a good, solid game manager, they'll win 12 games, 11 games. I agree with Matt. I think the Rams are bad. I think Aaron Donald doesn't want to play, but he wants to collect the money. And Stafford, I think, is done. I think Stafford can stick a fork in him at this point. So,
what's he going to be, like 36, 37?
I don't know, but he's had more injuries, elbows, shoulders, legs. I mean, they sold their soul. They got the Super Bowl.
Plus, all the shit that he put up with his wife.
Yeah.
Being sick.
Yeah, and then the coach is half out the door. He's going to be, that guy, again, I'm not sure why he came back. For what reason? I mean, he could have got a ton of money at Fox or one of those channels. Yeah, I think the Rams are a bad team. I disagree with you. I think the Seahawks wound up second in that division, and they probably wind up with a playoff berth. I think there's a definite avenue for that. But give me, Jeff, your who's coming out of the AFC. What are the two teams playing the championship game, and what team goes to Super Bowl?
For the NFC?
Yep.
It's hard to go against the Eagles.
Yep.
And I'm going to say the 49ers, but unless they settle down with their quarterback and they don't have any injuries, I mean, who else could it possibly be? Dallas?
Again, I'm going to go Philly, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go out on a limb on this one, Jeff. I'm going Lions. To be honest with you, I think Frisco. I think if it'd be a miracle if McCaffrey gets through another season uninjured. I'm not a fan of Purdy. I don't think there's a good quarterback on that roster at this point. And you saw what happened to that team without a quarterback. I'm going to go. I think Philly and the Lions. I think the Lions are going to surprise people this year. I love their defense, and I think I think Goff's going to have one of those, really good years. I'm telling you, I think this is a team that's going. I don't think they're going to win a Super Bowl, but I'm going to pick them to go to the NFC Championship game just for the hell of it.
Oh, listen, anything could happen, man. It would be nice to see Detroit get to NFC Championship game, and they haven't been. Well, they've been to one playoff game, 2 playoff games in 30 years.
Something like that, yeah, ridiculous.
So, it would be really nice to see them do something like that. But I don't think so, man. I don't feel it.
No, I know you haven't been on the bandwagon, and I get it. It's that way. But listen, we're going to have a lot of football this year. What's your thoughts on your Jets playing on Black Sunday. Was not Black Sunday. That's the Friday after Thanksgiving. What do they call
Black
that?
Friday.
Black Friday.
That's when they're wearing their black uniforms. You know,
Is that really what they're doing?
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I love the fact that they're bringing back the sack exchange uniform. I know you're not crazy about it, right?
Nah, I wish that they would revamp the Jets uniform and just stick with one. You know,
If you had to pick, which uniform would you go with?
What's that?
If you had to pick one Jet era uniform, which one would it be?
It hasn't arrived yet.
Oh, really? So you're not a fan of any uniform?
No. Maybe as a throwback, you get their old uniforms from when they won the Super Bowl, but the old sack exchange uniforms, nothing special happened there other than with the sack exchange. You know, there's not much to say that let's use these uniforms because they had a good run or whatever. I would love to see them do something with their uniforms, do a black, green, and silver or something. You know, like revamp them. Maybe black uniform and with a helmet with the silver with green trim on it or something, you know. But then that sounds, just thinking about it, sounds like a college type uniform. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But they should do something and try to do something different with the uniforms. Maybe get them out of the funk. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Namath era, especially the helmets. I love that era of helmets, and I think those were the best uniforms they ever had. So if I had to pick a uniform for them, but
that uniform, I could just imagine like, you know, grainy old footage from the 60s when I see that uniform. It's not a modern look to me. You know, they got to modernize. They have to. That's just my thoughts.
No, I get it. I'm trying to find a picture of. There's a picture out there of all the different. Here it is. Let me see if I can get it up on the screen. We can talk. Yeah, New York Post had it today. I just found it. Let me show it to you, Jeffy. Let me show it to you. Share screen. Jets and Giants throwbacks. And let's see if let me bring this up a little bit more. See, now, let me see right here. Shrink that a little bit more. Okay, can you get a good picture of that, Jeff?
Namath, Klecko, Sanchez, was that Sauce Gardner?
Yep.
And Aaron Rodgers. And I'll be honest with you, the best looking uniforms to me got to be 3 or 4.
Oh, get this out of the way. Why is this in my way? Why is this? Come on.
Jets.
Drop down. Okay. It's too big now. Too big. Okay. Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I'm not a fan of 4 at all.
It just looks a little bit more modern than the other ones, you know.
I got it. I'm not a huge fan of the Klecko era either, but I do love the Namath. I think.
Well, the Namath 1 and 3 are a lot alike. If anything, number 3 looks like it's a little bit darker.
It is darker. 1. Yeah, it is darker, and the stripe is different. But I like the helmets. That era helmets is the Namath era is great. I'd tell you the truth. I think they should have went with the Klecko era. I got to be honest with you. I would have went with Klecko era.
It's boring, man.
Celebrate. Yeah, I get it. I don't like the Rodgers one. I don't know. I want to see the helmets a little bit more.
Here's something else too. Why the fuck do they got to change the uniform every year?
Yeah, I agree with you. Stick with it. I know they only do the 3 throwbacks in a year, so I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. To me, one uniform, you wear it home and away, call it a day. But it's about making money, Jeff. What are you gonna do? See you, Matty.
Well, of course, we know that.
Yeah, Mets middle even floats again. I guess the Mets lost to or losing to the Nationals. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's like I said, it's all about expectations, Jeff. If I had to put a name on the season, it's called expectations, and we're going to see it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun around here.
No, wait, hold on. The Broncos have a white helmet now?
Hold on. I got to bring it up now. I got to find it for you. So
that's got to be hideous looking.
Let's see. Denver Bronco uniforms. Let's see. Let's get it up on the screen for my man.
Oh, it was the 3rd. Okay.
Let's see if we can
put in alternate uniforms, Tom.
I'm looking for. Nope, that's snow-capped alternate helmet. They call it a snow-capped helmet, Jeff.
All right. Well, let's see what it looks like.
Oh, that's actually not. I gotta tell you. I have to tell you, you might like this. I have to, Frankie. I'm going to tell you, I think this is a sharp-looking helmet. I have to admit, I like this helmet.
It looks like a college helmet almost.
I don't know. I like it. I think that's actually good. I like it better than a regular helmet. I got to be honest with you. That's a sharp-looking helmet.
I don't think anything white is sharp looking, man. I think it's too clean. I would rather see some color. I remember when they had the blue helmet, right? Or no, was it a blue helmet or an orange helmet?
Well, the originals I think were orange, right? And then now they have the blue one.
Like when Elway was playing, they had an orange jersey and a blue helmet with the orange D, right?
I believe you're correct.
Yeah, those were the classic helmets, and the helmets that they got now with the Bronco on the side, I think those are pretty nice looking. Those white ones, I don't know. They're going to take some getting used to.
Is this the one you're talking about?
No, that's way too. That looks like Clemson.
Yeah, it does look like Clemson.
Like Clemson. That one right there.
That's you're digging that one?
Yeah, but even the one get John Elway when he was playing.
That's an Elway era helmet.
No. Elway when he first started playing.
Oh, when he first started playing.
Like that. Similar to that.
You're talking about these?
No. No, put in John Elway on the field or something. No, definitely not that.
That's horrendous. Holy cow. I'm trying to. That's Peyton. Oh my God. I want to go back. I can't go back. Fuck. That was horrendous. Okay. So you want me to put John Elway? John
Elway, Denver Broncos, or whatever. Because they had a very similar uniform when like Craig Morton was playing. Remember?
I do. Let's see.
When they first made it to the.
Okay, so you're talking about this uniform? That's an early Elway. Oh, you can't see it. Sorry. Share screen. This is what you gotta be talking about.
Yeah, there you go. Blue helmet, orange jersey.
Okay.
He had the D on the side.
This is what you're talking about. That's it, right? That's the look you're looking for.
Well, that's the one that it wasn't a dark blue, but it was blue.
Yeah, no, it's definitely it's interesting. Then it went to these, which I hate these uniforms. I'm sorry. I think these are.
You don't like those?
No, not at all.
Definitely better than the ones before that.
I don't know. These, huh?
They're definitely better than that. That looks like a USFL uniform.
You're right.
A bad uniform. Like they had a week to pick, and that was all they can get.
They have had some interesting colors. I'm not a fan of those at all.
And is John Elway 70 years old yet?
I would say the answer is yes.
Yeah, you think is he that old?
I would say the answer is yes. He got drafted in 80. No, maybe he's a little short of it. He got drafted in 83.
He's 63.
Oh, 63?
That's it. He's only 5-6 years older than we are.
No. I guess so. Yeah, he came out of college. Wow, she's like 7 years. You're right. Yeah, I forgot. That's right.
You're talking about Mustard Brown uniforms the Broncos had?
I don't remember that. He's 64. I think Frank
just looked it up. He's 63. He didn't hit 64 yet.
Wow, interesting. Wow. I don't know, Jeff. It's it's going to be fun. You know, Jeff, that we build this show around the NFL. We'll talk a lot of football from
1960, June 28th, 1960.
Horrible Mustard Brown. All right, I got it now. Denver Bronco. Bronco mustard colored uniforms. Oh, dear God in heaven.
Uh-oh. That bad?
Oh, wow. I thought the Steelers had a bad uniform. Hold on, Jeff. These are throwbacks. So this isn't one they wore regularly. This is like a 1960s uniform.
Oh. What the fuck is that?
Wow, that is bad. Frankie, I'm assuming, look at the socks. Frankie, that's what you're talking about, right?
I hate those, man.
Holy cow. I thought the Steelers had it.
They look like like an alternate to the Redskins uniforms.
Yeah. Oh, my God. And look at the vertical socks. How horrendous is that? Wow.
They almost look maroon and gold.
Wow.
Those colors.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that is.
I don't know about worst ever, man, because the Steeler uniforms, throwback uniforms, are pretty bad too.
Yeah, let me bring that up.
Bumblebee ones.
Yeah,
those are not exactly the nicest looking of uniforms. Oh God.
So I can bring that for you right now, because those are probably the worst ones. Oh my God. Yeah, by far, these are the worst uniforms, Jeff.
Yeah.
You all right?
No, dude, I got an itch, and I just found out that my arm shrunk about 6 inches. I can't reach. God damn it.
Yeah, these might be
they look like a prison football team with those on.
Yeah, I'll say that I might take them over the old Redskin ones, but they're still one of the worst.
Nah, dude, come on, man. The Jets aren't the Titans anymore. They got to stay away from those uniforms. Those blue and gold, they look like fucking Notre Dame.
Yeah. Well, guys, we're going to wrap this one up for this week, but it's football season, folks, and make sure you come back here each week where Jeff and I will be talking football every Thursday night. We'll be following our teams and yours, so make sure you come on back and long time. And Frankie will be doing I'm going to be sending out. We're going to be doing the fantasy league this year. Jeff, there's the big question: are we teaming up again this year, or will you be going out on your own team this year? You threatened to go out on your own last year. I'm just curious if you're going to be going out. And you're going to be doing your own
I don't know, man. I don't know. You know why? Because in the heat of the moment, things are said. You know, and then you look back when you get ready to go into battle, and you know. Maybe sometimes it's nice to look over and see somebody there. I don't know.
You have to make a decision. But yes, Frankie, I talked to Frank Jeffrey and Matt today. I'll be sending out emails. And, of course, we'll do the draft right after the last preseason game and right before the season. So hopefully you're in too. And Jeff will have to make a decision whether he's going to go this year on his own or we're going to team up again.
Well, let me ask you something. How do you like to see that unfolding?
For me, because of my busy schedule, I like having the fact that you were definitely the more you were watching a lot more than I was last year. I got with my busy schedule, it's hard for me to kind of dig into it, and it was nice to get hey, don't forget to set the thing, or hey, how about picking up this guy or that guy, and to me it was great having a partner in this whole thing. But
Frank, it's not that I can't do it. It's you got to understand that when me and Tommy were together doing that team last year, it was a totally run franchise.
Oh yeah,
we had board meetings once a week.
Yes,
we went over everything. We were doing just as we're doing the show now. We would do meetings like this and go over everything. We'd have stats. We'd forget about it. We were no fucking fly-by-night fucking operation.
Frankie said we were last last year. We did not finish last.
Get the fuck out of here.
Frankie, now you've thrown down the gauntlet. He's thrown down the gauntlet. Yes, I'm not sure. I have to go back and look at the stats. But Frankie's thrown down the gauntlet, and now we're going to have to team up and come back. And
you know what? Maybe we will separate this year. This is a way the both of us could bitch slap them at least once this year.
We'll have to see how it works out. But yeah, so it's Frankie. The league will be back, and I'll get some messages out to everybody. So, yeah, you might be right. Frankie might be right. He got robbed. That game took him out of it. So we'll see what happens. But listen, folks, thanks for tuning in. There's a lot. To we'll get back to next week. It'll be a regular show next week. Again, we're kicking off our 9th year in existence. Hey, Gumati Lou, you missed the football show, Gumati.
What's up, Lou?
Lou, I want you to know your boy Jeff picked the Jets to win the Super Bowl and the Giants to finish dead last. Just so you know. See you later, Frank.
See you later, man.
I just want Louis to know how Jeff picked it up this year.
He seems very interested.
He's probably putting down the here it comes. No, he actually picked the Giants to finish 3rd in the division and the Jets to win their division. So
no, I said Jets to finish
second. You had the Bills and the Jets. I'll give him. He's absolutely right. He did take that back. So, but
yeah. Listen. Until they start playing like it, I can't turn around and just all of a sudden jump on the thing and say that the Jets are going to the Super Bowl. Every year, I have reason to believe that there's a little light at the end of the tunnel, and it usually gets bricked up as soon as before the end of the first period of the first game.
Oh, man. So, hey, Lou, real quick, what do you think? Did you like the way Shane handled the Barkley situation? And I know you're not the biggest Daniel Jones fan, but do you expect him bigger things this year? See how fast Louis can type.
Well, I guess he's either tipped off or what.
Well, anything going on, Jeff? It's a yes for Bull. Jones has improved a lot, and he loved the way Shane handled it. Yeah, I thought Shane drew the line in the sand and said, "This is what we can do for you. We like you," but he went the old school Belichick way. And yeah, I'm expecting big things out of Jones. Did you like the deal for Andrew Thomas today? I thought that was a good move by Shane. Jeff, anything going on musically? Do we got anything coming up? Still September?
No, man. It's there has been discussions in the Remorons camp.
I was going to ask because I thought I saw something. I thought I saw a post, kind of like a picture, and then nothing else a little while back, and I meant to ask.
Well, that was just our way of saying, "Hey, it's 4th of July. What's up, man?" And it's I don't know if the Remorons are coming back as you knew them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they're
replacements already.
A little something different.
Is it a wholesale change? One guy? What's the?
No, if the one person that's proposed a change gets his way, it's going to be the same 4 guys. Just different songs. Different. No Ramones.
Oh, so just a regular band.
Yeah, which I don't know if I'm up for, and I don't know what's happening.
I would have thought you would be excited by that. I mean, being a Ramones tribute band can't last all that long. I mean,
it could, man. It could. Yeah. Why? Because people love that shit, and you be out there playing wherever you want to play, man. Wow. And if you did it right, which we were going that way, we could have played everywhere.
No,
it's that shit. But
but still up in the air at this point.
It's still up in the air, yeah. September 2nd, 25 missions.
Yep,
that's all right now.
All right, Louis. Unfortunately, my work life has gotten even worse. So I have no free days, no free time. So unfortunately, I will not be able to make camp like I did last year. So have a great time. I wish, believe me, one of these days I'm going to retire and be able to do fun things. But so far I can't. So, but hopefully I'll catch up with you soon. All right. So it's September 2nd, and then there's a possible revival of some sort of version of the Remorons, but we don't know.
Well, we don't know, but we do have 2 other shows announced, 2 other dates announced. I should say shows, not dates. November 25th and December 23rd. I can't give you much more information
Wow.
than that. Other than that,
Right
and
around the
venue,
holidays for both. Wow.
I give you the venue, Mother Pugs.
Okay. All right. So
That's all I can tell you right now.
that 25 missions.
That's all I can tell you right now.
Oh, you won't even give his buddies that stuff. All
I
right. Well,
can't. It's not that I don't want to. I can't.
all right. Well, we'll have to wait and see what Jeff comes up with next. But September 2nd out in Staten Island, see those guys. Pretty close. Pretty close, Nick Lombardi. Pretty close. Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap this one up. So for first of all, again, thank you guys for all celebrating our 9th anniversary doing this show and the 10th time we've done the NFL training camp show. So thank you to everybody who chipped in tonight, all the people who came along the way, Matt and Frank and my dad and Louie, Adam Hines and Mike and a bunch of guys who paid attention to us tonight. Thank you all. And again, thank you for everybody who supports us and allowed us to be around here for the last 9 years. So thanks for everybody. And listen, all I can say is we'll be back next Thursday night. We'll do it all over again. I'll be doing it from a new location. So stay tuned. We'll have some new backdrops and some new things going on. But in the meantime, you guys have a great night, a great rest of your week, a great weekend, a great next week. And we'll see you right back here on Thursday night at the Hard Rocket Sports Show. For Jeff Nowinski, myself, and everybody down here at the Hard Rocket Sports Show, I say good night. See you next week. Have a great one.
Later, man.
Talk to you off the air. Good night, Louie.